Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about Hello Neighbor Part 1 for mobile devices. Hello Neighbor is a stealth game developed by Dynamic Pixels and published by TinyBuild. Initially released as public alphas from 2016 to 2017, it received a full release for Windows and Xbox One on 2017, and later for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android on 2018. The player controls Nicky Roth, who witnesses some strange happenings at his next-door neighbor's house. His goal is to successfully sneak into the basement of the house to uncover a dark secret while avoiding being caught by the neighbor. The game's AI modifies the neighbor's behavior based on the player's past actions, such as setting traps along paths the player followed in a previous attempt, and also setting up some cameras. While the initial alpha versions of Hello Neighbor were received positively, the final product was met with largely negative reviews. The gameplay control scheme and technical performance have been heavily criticized, though the story elements and the art style were praised. In Hello Neighbor, the player character has moved into an old house across the street from a mysterious neighbor who is behaving abnormally and seems to be keeping a secret in his basement. The player's task is to find the details and brutal secrets of the neighbor's house and solve a series of puzzles to gather the items needed to unlock and access his basement. As the player explores the neighbor's house, they must not be spotted by the mysterious neighbor or they will be chased down, and if the player is not quick enough to hide or escape, they will be captured and be sent back out onto the street. The player can stun the neighbor by throwing objects at him for an easier escape. If the player is caught or suffers a serious injury, they will be sent back to their own house and will have to break in again. Upon starting again, the player must be more careful, as the neighbor will deduce movements from the last attempt and set up traps. The player can use the game settings to turn on friendly neighbor mode, preventing the neighbor from setting these traps and causing him to be less aggressive in his pursuits. However, he is still to be avoided at all costs. The game is divided into 4 parts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and Act Finale. The game is played in a first-person perspective, and the player must aim a reticle at certain objects to interact with them or to throw or use a held item. For example, throwing a ball at a window or aiming a crowbar at nails to remove them. Up to 4 items can be kept in an inventory space. Items of the same kind cannot be stacked together in one slot. The controls are, of course, different on different platforms. A boy named Nicky Roth is chasing a beach ball, playing soccer down the street before stopping nearby his neighbor, Theodore Peterson's home. He hears what he presumes is a child screaming and approaches Theodore's window, witnessing Theodore locking a child inside his basement, only to get caught and thrown back on his side of the street. From here, Nicky must access Theodore's basement using a red key, which is located on the 2nd floor of Theodore's house. Upon doing so, Nicky enters Theodore's labyrinthine basement and descends further into the maze before reaching a door locked with locks of all colors while being pursued by Theodore. The act ends with Nicky being captured by Theodore and locked inside a desolate room with windows displaying fake outdoors, ending Act 1. Nicky manages to escape his cell with the help of Theodore's son Aaron and escape the basement, only to find that Mr. Peterson has erected a massive fence around his property to prevent escape. Nicky is forced to solve several puzzles to find a way to escape Mr. Peterson's property. Once he crosses the fence, he flees back to his home, and Mr. Peterson, hearing a loud smash implied to be caused by his son, Aaron, does not give chase, instead staring Nicky dead in the eyes before locking back up his house. Ending Act 2. Years later, an adult Nicky is evicted from his apartment and decides to return to his old family home. His childhood town had finally succumbed to its cruel fate, and he finds the house in disrepair, while Mr. Peterson's home is also nothing but a pile of ruins. While inspecting the ruins, Nicky is haunted by a dark shadow-like creature, the Thing, which is implied to be a manifestation of fear itself. And he returns to his home, where he finds an old picture of himself as a child before the phone starts to ring. After answering the phone, Nicky sees the shadow entity again. Believing he is hallucinating, he falls asleep as an act of self-therapy. He is awoken by a child's scream and discovers Mr. Peterson's house is back, and more surreal than before due to his trauma. Nicky navigates the house and has surreal experiences such as learning to double jump by overcoming his fear of the dark, or overcoming his school fears. Eventually, he enters the basement, now older and more surreal with exaggerated architecture. With a run-in by the Thing at the end of the basement is a parallel to Act 1, with Theodore attempting to chase Nicky through the basement. Entering the room at the end of the basement, Nicky is face-to-face with a cardboard representation of Theodore's son, Aaron, and a giant version of Theodore himself. Nicky's task in this act is to knock Theodore to his knees and get into the giant house on his back. After doing so, he must protect a younger version of himself from the Thing. Each time the Thing attacks and Nicky protects his younger self, Nicky grows larger until he can fight the Thing. After the Thing is defeated, Nicky sees Mr. Peterson in a small two-room house. When he spots Nicky, he runs in desperation towards the window, as if to ask for help, but then sighs and turns away, filled with sadness. In the other room is a much smaller Thing. Mr. Peterson has boarded the door up on his side and placed a chair against it, signifying that while Nicky faced his fears and overcame them, Mr. Peterson never overcame his fear, instead choosing to lock them away. The Thing is seen standing right by the door on the other side. Behind him is another door with an exit sign above it. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe. See you later on my channel. Bye-bye.
Yes, what is it? My name is Ellison. This is Harry Jarvis. We're from the Morning Chronicle. I wonder if we can come in. Well, I am rather busy.